my biggest struggle hasn't come from like the country side of things. I've gotten way more backlash from Christians than I have from yes,
In
way
what
more.
way?
Which
I'm like,
hurts.
Christians, if you're listening to this, stop it.
Well,
Be nice to Emily and... Hi, you guys. Welcome back to In the Middle of It. I'm your host, Hannah Kerr. I am beyond excited for our guest today. She's truly a rising country superstar, and I think that she has the world's best voice, like truly the best voice. Speaking of The Voice, you might recognize her from season 9 of The Voice. She also has a gigantic social media following. She just hit 1 million followers on TikTok, of which I am one. I'm a true fan. Please welcome Emily Ann Roberts.
Oh, that was so sweet.
Listen, I practiced that like it was my lines, okay? And it was my lines. I got to get the stats in there. Man, you're so cool. You made me
sound so fancy.
You
Thank
are
you.
fancy. You're so cool. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, it's good to be here.
I was telling you, like, when I was thinking about this podcast, I was like, I need to have Emily Ann Roberts on here. I don't know why. I just feel like you're such a great fit for this. Like who you are, you're just so much to talk about, truly. So, okay, the way that we typically start is with a little icebreaker. It's called Love It, Hate It, In the Middle of It. Okay. So I'm going to give you a rapid fire list of 5 things. You tell me if you love the thing, hate the thing, or feel neutral, like in the middle of it. Okay. I tried to pick things that I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I don't know. You might surprise me.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, the first one is chickens.
Love it.
You have chickens. Yes,
I have chickens, but I will say I learned something crazy about chickens. Chickens are vicious.
What?
And they'll eat other animals and they'll eat other chickens.
No.
What a crazy way to start this podcast.
Not chicken cannibalism as the opening of the podcast.
As the opening of the podcast. So I do love chickens, but you got to be careful with chickens.
Wow.
We have big girl chickens that we've had for about a year, and then we just got baby chickens, and the big girl chickens attacked the baby chickens.
No. Okay.
And murdered one
Not
of them.
murder. No.
Yes. So,
wow.
But I still love them because they give me eggs, but be warned.
Be warned, they're vicious.
They're vicious.
Who knew? Okay. Crochet.
Love it.
Yeah, I know you're the biggest crocheter. Is that how you say it? Crocheter.
Yeah, some people call crochet, they say they're hookers. Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm talking about chicken murder and hookers. And the first, you're like, I regret having Emily
What a crazy beginning.
Okay, yes. But yes, so crochet, for folks that don't know, is like knitting, except you use a hook instead of 2 needles.
Right.
And so crocheters, some people call themselves hookers.
Yes.
But yes, I love crochet, and it's a little granny hobby that is such a creative outlet for me.
I love it so much. Like, you literally were at the beach last week making granny squares. And
yes.
When I'm at the beach, I'm just like lounging, doing nothing. There's not a thought in this brain. And you're like, I'm going to make crochet squares.
Yes, I am all about it. And it keeps me like from scrolling on my phone. It like settles my mind. So I do it everywhere.
That's amazing.
I should have brought it here with me today.
No, I was saying like we should have been like, you should have been crocheting. I should have been knitting, like just sitting here. That would have been like the sweetest granny moment.
We're 2 peas in a pod.
Yes, I love it. Okay, sleeping on a tour bus. Love it, hate it.
In the middle of it.
Yeah, me too. Why?
Well, I mean, there are some times that it's great, and then there are some times where like you are like fighting for your life. You feel I feel like I go airborne sometimes in a tour bus.
Yes.
Bouncing up and down if you're on bumpy roads. I do sleep well in a car, and I don't have to have silence to sleep. So like there are some times that it's great. But then there are some times where it's like, whoa, you wake up and it's like, I don't know if I slept at all last night.
I know. I feel that. And you're just like putting your life in someone's hands while you're unconscious. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. Okay. College football. Love it, hate it, in the middle of it.
Love it.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I love college football. I am a UT fan. I grew up in Knoxville.
Okay. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
Love it.
Yes. And that's really the only football we watch. We never watch professional football. I don't really know anything about professional football.
That's how I feel about college. I don't know anything about college.
Really?
But my husband, he's also from Knoxville, and he's like, I never got bit by the Vols bug, but he's like, I love it when people love it, you know?
Have you ever been to a game?
Have you ever been to a game? No, he's never been
Well,
to a game.
that's why you ain't been bit by the bug. We need to go to a UT football game.
Scratch the game night idea. We'll just go to see the Tennessee Volunteers. It'll be great.
Oh my gosh, there's nothing like hearing the Pride of the Southland band play Rocky Top.
Wow.
It's kind of a spiritual experience.
Okay.
And you get your little shakers, your little pom-poms. VOLS, VOLS, go Vols, go.
Wow.
And it's so fun.
Do you look good in orange? I'm like, it's the worst color orange I've ever seen in my life, but you could probably pull it off.
Nobody looks good in orange. I don't think I look good in orange because it is such a horrible orange.
It is the worst shade, probably.
Yeah, it's really bad. Mm-hmm. But there is something beautiful about a sea of orange.
We're all in it together.
Yeah, we're all in it together.
Okay, last one, Walmart.
Love it.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time when I've had 5 for 5 of all love it's. Well, I guess the tour bus was in the middle of it, so we're good.
Yes,
okay,
in the middle
we had
of
some variation, but you love Walmart.
I love Walmart. I'm not a super fancy girl when it comes to, like, I like getting dolled up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, bougie designer things, I cannot be bothered with that.
Me either.
So if I find a good find at Walmart, I really look for everything at Walmart because you never know what you're going to find. I'm not above it. My sweet little husband wears Walmart tennis shoes because they're only $20.
Walmart, I feel like it's had a resurgence in like the fashion department. Like they're really doing it these days. So
I'm all about it.
I love that. I love that about you too. That's so great. Okay, thanks for playing. I love that. So many fun things to talk about with you. I feel like you're a Jill of all trades. You do it all. Like you're a country artist. You're also like a TikTok star. You do like get ready with me's. Like you can do makeup and glam and all the things. Like you're a believer. You do Yeehaw Mima activities, which I need you to tell everyone like what a Yeehaw Mima is.
Well, a Yeehaw Mima is when you're one part yeehaw, so you're young. But I guess an old person could be a Yeehaw Mima too if they're young at heart. But yeehaw is the young part and Mima is the old part of where your heart is. Okay, so basically
it's where your heart is.
That was a horrible explanation.
No,
of
it was great.
Mima. But it came about in a meeting one day that I had with Tiffany Bearden, and basically she was saying that she thought I needed a TV show. And just for fun.
I was going to say that actually. I feel like you need to have a TV show. So just put my name in the hat for saying yes to that. Okay.
Well, maybe one day. But for fun, she was like, what would it be called? And what would it be about? And we were just talking about how all these different things that I love, I'm like a collector of hobbies.
Yeah.
I love hobbies. And I love like old-timey hobbies. Mm-hmm. So crocheting and like bread making and gardening and homemaking.
Yes.
I love anything homemaking and crafty stuff. And so anyways, we were talking about all that. And I love like old-timey way of living, you know, whether it's even like old-timey music or just old-timey values and traditions. That's where my heart is. So we were talking about that, but then we were talking about just the juxtaposition of like at the time I was like 20 years old and she was like, you're a baby, but you're into all this old timey stuff. And so she said, you're one part yeehaw, one part Mimo.
You're like, yes.
And that's how it was born.
And that is who I am.
And that is me. So and now it's been so cool. I've built like almost this little culture, I feel like, because now little girls will come to my concerts.
Yes.
And they will have crocheted their own clothing.
That is so cute.
It's so cute.
You're an inspiration.
It is so cute. And they'll say, I'm a Yeehaw Mima too. And it is just the coolest thing. I will never forget, we were doing a headlining show in Chattanooga last year. It was my first headlining show in Chattanooga, and there was a girl on the front row that was wearing a crocheted sweater. And I do like crochet tutorials online.
That is amazing.
I saw it and I thought, that's my sweater. Like I could tell by the squares and everything. I thought she followed my pattern. So about 3 songs in, I thought I can't take it any longer. So I called her out and I was like, did you crochet that sweater? And I had crocheted my own outfit for the show that night.
Of course.
And so I said, did you crochet that sweater? And she was proud as punch. She stood up and she was like, yeah, I did. I followed your tutorial. And in the darkness, I hear another woman say, I crocheted my sweater too.
No.
And then another woman stands up and they said, I did too.
It's a movement of Yeehaw Mimas.
Yeehaw Mimas unite. So anyways, that was so crazy. But it's been really cool to see other girls feel like they identify with that because for a lot of my life, none of my girlfriends were into that. I really don't have friends that like have the same hobbies as me.
Yeah.
Probably my friend, we have a mutual friend, Sarah Davison, who plays keys with me and is one of my really good friends. She's into old timey stuff, but other than her, I really just didn't have any friends that loved that. So it's been cool to see something that I felt like I was kind of isolated in, so many other people relate to, and that makes me feel,
it's so sweet.
I don't know, like not alone in it, you know?
It's so unique, and I feel like you're just forming a club of Yeehaw Mima.
Yes.
I am literally from New York, but I want to be in your club. Like,
well, you are welcome.
I can be, you said it's in your heart, right? And then like in my heart, I could be a Yeehaw Mima.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I need to learn to crochet though. Actually, Jason got me like one of those little wooble kits where you make like a little animal.
Yes.
It's sitting halfway done in my room and I need to finish it. But crochet is hard.
It is hard.
I have a lot of respect for you.
But you said you knit.
I do.
I think knit is harder than crochet.
I don't know. I feel like the double needle thing, it feels easier to me. My grandma taught me when I was a kid, so I don't know. But I'm open to the new hobby and I want to join the club.
We'll have us a night.
Yeah,
I'll teach you.
We'll have a crochet night. That'd be great. But seriously, like, I don't know how you have time in 24 hours to do all the things that you love to do. Like, I feel like I'll see you're on tour, and then you come home and you're like, I planted 100 pounds of potatoes.
I know.
What? How? How do you do it all?
I'm not good at sitting still. I'm really not good at resting. And it's an actual issue. Like, it's something that we talk about in our house a lot of like, it is actually a commandment of the Lord to take a day off, you know?
It's true.
And I'm a bit of a workaholic, and it's something that I am working on, but I love being busy. I love having something to do. And with the gardening thing, you know, I feel like, and all of my hobbies, because they are time consuming, if you love something, you make time for it. And I think other things probably do get put on the back burner, like maybe cleaning my house sometimes gets put on the back burner because I have 100 pounds of potatoes to plant. But you make time for what you love, you know?
Yeah.
And I just try to be intentional with my schedule. You know, I do focus majority of my energy on my career.
Yeah.
And there are so many responsibilities and obligations and things that I have to show up for and be prepared for. So that gets majority of my time. But any amount of free time that I have is spent in the hobbies.
Do you feel like the hobbies recharge you? Like it feels like rest, even if you are working, like it just feels restful to do those things?
That is how I rest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I have this weekend off and I can't wait to weed my garden. Which is like...
You might be the only person that feels that way, but I love it.
But I'm going to feel more relaxed when that is done than I do right now knowing that it needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
It's just funny to me to think of you just in your garden weeding, you're making jam. She literally brought me jam, you guys, like a jar of jam here. Like you're doing that and then next week you're going to be at CMA Fest, like performing, doing all the things. Like it's just a juxtaposition in the best way.
Yes, it keeps me maybe like grounded, I think.
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. It really does, because you're not just constantly living in like the career bubble. You also have other parts of who you are. You're not just Emily Ann Roberts, the country singer. You're also just Emily Ann who has like all these hobbies. And I really love that. I think that's super important as an artist. I want to talk about music. I want to talk about how you got started in music. What kind of brought you to Nashville? How did you get from Knoxville to where you are today?
You know, I would have never had the guts to come to Nashville if the Lord hadn't opened up the door for me to go on The Voice.
Yeah.
My plan was to go to college and become a music teacher.
Okay.
I wanted to teach middle school or high school students music. I had great course teachers growing up, and I thought, man, they've made, such an impact on my life, and this has been such a highlight of like my youth, and so I'd love to do that, and that was my plan. But when I was a sophomore in high school, a casting producer from The Voice found a video of me on YouTube singing Something in the Water by Carrie Underwood.
Great song.
And it was not a fancy video. It was literally me sitting cross-legged on a bar stool. I look back at it and I'm like, why was I even sitting like that? But like cross-legged on a bar stool in my bonus room. My dad like set up a mic and plugged it into a little amplifier he bought from a pawn shop, and took a little video on his little flip like recorder. I don't know if you remember those little things, but and posted it to YouTube. So it was nothing fancy, but somehow they found it, and I went on The Voice, did that whole crazy thing. And Blake was my coach on the show, and his manager, Narvel Blackstock, came out to see the live rounds and heard me sing and told Blake that he would love to take a meeting with me.
Wow.
So I'll never forget the night of the finale, you know, Blake pulls me and my mom and daddy into this back room, and he's like, "How you feeling, kid?" You know, and talking to me.
But you were a kid. You were literally, what, 16?
16.
That's so crazy.
And he was like, "Well, no matter what happens tonight, I'm here for you, and, you know, it'll all work out." And he told me his manager wanted to meet with me, and so I thought, well, sure, you know. So came in second place, went home, and then I was back in high school by January. That was in December, and I was back in high school in January. And
which that had to be crazy, going back to high school, being like, I just did this thing that everyone saw.
It was goofy.
And now I'm back.
It was so goofy.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I had like so many friends that, you know, treated me so well. But really, I never went by Emily Ann in high school. I always went by Emily.
Okay.
And if I was in trouble, my parents said, Emily Ann, you know. And then when I went on The Voice, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll do my full name, Emily Ann Roberts.
Yeah.
And so it was funny when I got back to school, some of my teachers started calling me Emily Ann, and some of like
that's
the
interesting
acquaintances like called me Emily Ann instead of Emily, and I was like, that ain't my name. Anyways,
you're like, I know that you're a fair weather friend now.
Yes.
Like, that's the indicator.
That was kind of weird. But so I came to Nashville in January, met with Narvel, and I met with a couple different managers, but he was and he is so wise. But, you know, I was thinking, I've got to capitalize on this exposure, and I've got to get new music out. And I had like written probably 5 songs in my whole life and didn't know anything about anything. And he looked at me and said, you know, Emily, you have got so much time. And he said, we are here for you. If you want to come to town and start co-writing, if we can help in any way, you know, we are here for you. But you've got time, and you need to take time to figure out who you are and what you want to say and how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because you only get to make a first impression once.
That's so wise.
It was so wise.
Yeah.
And I just had a total peace about it. So I started working with him. I graduated high school, and that's how I came to Nashville. And
that's wild. Yeah. It's kind of awesome that you had that time to just figure out who you are and then become who you are now. Because how old are you now?
I'm 26 now.
Okay, so it's been 10 years since The Voice, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
And I feel like in some ways, like, you've been in Nashville so long, but it feels like you're a new artist to people. Like, people are discovering you and being like, I found this new girl. And you're like, sis, I've been here 10 years. But like, that's so good because you're starting like at the top instead of like being 17 and putting out a song and being like, I have no idea what I want to say.
I know.
Like, I feel like you are who you are, and we know who that is, you know, which is such a blessing. I feel like that's so cool.
It is a blessing.
I love it. Who did you listen to growing up? Like, what were some of your musical influences?
Well, I loved Patti Loveless.
Okay.
And I loved Ricky Skaggs.
Yes.
When I think about the music that made me fall in love with country and bluegrass music, especially, it's Ricky and Patti.
That's so cool. And you've opened for Ricky Skaggs now.
Yes.
Which, that had to be the craziest moment ever.
Ricky was actually the person who introduced me onto the stage at my Grand Ole Opry debut for the very first time.
No way. I just got chills. That's crazy.
And I remember the earliest memories I have of music are Ricky's voice. And I remember being in a car seat listening to his Soldier of the Cross album, which if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a bluegrass gospel record, and it's incredible. And I remember trying to pick out harmonies and singing along. I mean, those are my earliest memories of music. And for him to be the one to welcome me onto the Grand Ole Opry for the very first time was crazy. And I have to share this because I love him, and I think that this is such a cool story, and not everybody knows it. But they give those folks like a little cue card that has all the information, like Emily Ann Roberts, Knoxville, Tennessee native, runner-up on The Voice season 9, all this stuff. Well, after my set, he came into my dressing room and he handed me that sheet of paper, and he wrote, "This is just the first of many. So proud of you. Love, your Ricky." And signed it for me and gave it to me.
Cry.
I know.
That is
precious.
So sweet.
So he has been so kind. And people say don't meet your heroes, but if your hero is Ricky Skaggs, you should try to meet him.
Wow.
Because he's great.
And now you've played the Opry like over 20 times. Like
Yeah.
you're on the path to Opry membership, I feel like.
I will die. I will actually
I feel like it's inevitable. I feel like it's coming. I feel like every time I see a video of you at the Opry, like there's no sound in the room, like a pin could drop. Everyone is just locked in on you. And I feel like you pull out like these classic country songs that like a lot of new country artists are not familiar with, or like they're just doing the brand new modern country, and you're like bringing the classic songs. I feel like people at the Opry especially are like, yes, Emily Ann is like reviving country music.
Well, I'll tell you, the Opry, like people listen at the Opry. It is
For
a
sure.
special place, and folks don't really listen these days. I mean,
Yeah.
even at concerts with your favorite artist, it's loud and it's chaotic, and
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of listening crowds
Mhm.
nowadays. And the Opry, people come expecting something.
That's right.
And I think that when a group of fans and an audience especially comes expecting something, it's so much fun to be the artist for a crowd like that, because it makes you want to give it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's hard when you're standing on a stage somewhere and people are like, I have done so many opening sets where I look down and I'm literally singing my heart out, and someone's sitting on the front row like texting.
It's
So,
the
and I'm like,
worst.
cool, you hate me.
Especially in
You're
Nashville.
bored.
Like in Nashville, we're so spoiled with concerts and stuff. I feel like every time I've played a show in Nashville, I'm like, they couldn't care less about this
No,
show.
they don't
But
care.
the Opry is different.
The
and I
Opry
love
is
that.
different. It is so special.
Was that like a bucket list moment for you, like in your career? I want to ask, is there a bucket list moment that you've already done? And then is there one that you haven't done yet that you're waiting on in your career?
Yes, I would say the Opry is definitely a bucket list moment, and it's not even just one time, it's every time I get to play there.
Yeah.
I try to take a deep breath and soak it all in, and remind myself like that I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that you probably relate to this too. I feel like any artist and any creative person, when you are driving the ship, it's really easy to look past the wins
Yeah.
and those bucket list moments. It's really hard to take a deep breath and soak it in, because you're the one focused on where you're headed.
Yeah.
So your mind is always saying, okay, cool, check that off the list. You know, this is what, and at least that I'm very goal oriented, and I'm an achiever. And so my husband, this is kind of like a therapy thing, I feel like, but he will make me sometimes sit down and write down things I've accomplished, because it
Wow.
helps me like take it in. So all that being said, the Opry, every time I stand side stage, I take a deep breath and think, Emily, you are doing it. You know,
Yeah.
there are things you still want to accomplish. There are places you still want to go, but that feels like I have made it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yep.
what is better than this?
That's so cool.
So that's a huge bucket list moment for me. And then probably one that I haven't done, but it's a new dream of mine.
Okay.
I want to be the voice of a character,
Yes.
like an animated character. I got to be the voice of Trixie the
Yeah.
bear at the country musical Bear Jamboree in Disney.
It awakened a dream.
It awakened a dream that I didn't even know I had. And now I don't care if I'm like a squirrel or if I'm like a person. I want to be the voice of like an animated
Yes.
something.
Like
So
in a
that's on the
movie or
bucket list.
something.
Movie, commercial.
You're
I
like,
don't
"Listen,
care.
I'm open to the options, okay?
Yeah, I don't care.
You would be so good for that. Like, that would be so amazing.
I just think it would be so fun. And it was really cool getting to record that song for Trixie the bear, because
Trixie the bear. I've been a bear, so now I want to be a squirrel.
I want to be a squirrel. But it was cool getting to do that, because when we're like standing in the studio recording our songs, we're thinking about taking this out and playing it live. And
Yeah.
our mindset is so like centered around us. But with Trixie, they like told me, this is what Trixie will be doing, and this is her story. And I got to like put myself in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
That's so
That
cool.
was really cool. And so, anyways, it awakened a dream I didn't even know I had. So, one day, maybe I could check that off the list if the Lord
love
opens
it.
the doors.
That is a great bucket list item. I love it. That's so good. Okay, something I love so much about you is that you are a full-blown country artist. Like that's what you're doing, but you never shy away from talking about your faith. You are such a strong believer in Jesus, and I feel like you talk about that so openly on your social media. Like you have this huge platform, and sometimes you're just preaching on there, and I'm like, girl, this is amazing to me. Have you ever felt like being a country artist, you've felt pressure to like dull down your faith or to not, or to choose one lane or the other? Like, have you ever felt pressure to not be as open about your faith?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have felt pressured to kind of shy away from it because I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to come across like preachy.
It's never preachy, by the way. It's always just like you're sharing and it invites everyone in. And I feel like that's such a special gift that you have. Like, that's what I mean by you're preaching.
Well, no, I appreciate you saying that because I try really hard to share from my heart instead of like tell somebody something.
Yeah,
I think that there's a total difference. And, you know, really the biggest struggle with juggling my faith and my commitment to the Lord, because He is who I ultimately submit to for everything. My biggest struggle hasn't come from like the country side of things. I've gotten way more backlash from Christians than I have from
In
way
what
more.
Way?
Which
I'm like,
hurts.
Christians, if you're listening to this, stop it.
Well,
be nice to Emily Ann.
Well, I think that people, if you're a Christian, they think you ought to sing Christian music. And I understand that. I think they think if God gave you a gift, then you ought to use it for the Lord, is what people will say. But I was raised by a mom and daddy who did not work in ministry. Yeah. But they were salt and light right where the Lord put them. Yeah. So mama worked and she still does, as a nurse in a pediatrician's office. My daddy has owned a janitorial business and cleaned buildings and managed housekeepers. He's always worked in cleaning his whole life. But they were witnesses for the Lord in total, normal, secular fields. Yep. And it showed me God calls some people into Christian music. God calls some people into, to be missionaries, to be pastors, to be worship leaders. But He also calls some people to be doctors and to be makeup artists and to be country artists that are His followers, and His children that will spread His gospel and His love wherever He puts them. And that was a hard thing for me to juggle because I had a lot of believers who really made me feel like I was doing something very wrong pursuing country music. But I always felt like that was where the Lord had me. I never felt like He had me. And I wrestled with that for years and years. And I don't know if you know Jason Crabb. Yeah. But he is a precious friend of mine. And one day after I played like gospel shows for a really long time and country shows. And I did about 50-50 of each for a long time after The Voice. And me and Jason were on a show together. And he was just encouraging me and telling me how he believed in me so much. He was just being so sweet. And I just broke down and cried and said, I'm struggling because I feel like God is opening doors in country music, but I feel like guilty about it because I'm a Christian. Can I be a Christian and sing country music and sing about secular things? And he looked at me and gave me the best advice. And he said, Emily, it is not your job to look this way or this way, like right or left. It is your job to look straight ahead and run through the doors that God opens, because the doors that He opens are for you and they are on purpose. And He will close doors that are not for you, and you are just supposed to keep on running. Quit looking all around trying to basically like decipher the whole story and the plan and know, am I right? He's like, God has given you this gift. God has set you on this path. God has opened these doors, not you. That's right. Trust that, Yep. And that was such great advice. And now I pray that I am a good representative of the Lord wherever He puts me. And I know
You
I
are.
fail. Lord, I know I fail. But that's what I try to do in whatever room He puts me in.
I love that so much because the truth is let's say that you decided to leave country music and you do Christian music. Well, then who's talking about Jesus in country music? Like, if you're not doing it, then who is? Like, obviously God has placed you exactly where you are to fill a space that only you can fill. And I think it's so special. Like, I'm so glad you do country music. Like, even as a Christian artist, someone who I feel called to do Christian music, that's the beauty is we have different callings.
Yes.
And we're both ministers in our own way. Like, we're both out there preaching the gospel, bringing people to the Lord, but you're doing it on stages that I will never step on.
And you're doing it on stages that I'll never step on.
And that's what's so cool. Like, that's
is.
what's so cool about being a believer and being in the body of Christ is like we have different roles.
Yeah.
And I hate that anyone ever made you feel guilty about walking through open doors that God has in country because I just see His calling on your life so much. Like when I see you talk about your faith, when I see you sing The Building on a Blake Shelton tour, like it's just, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like I just feel so, I feel so excited for you to just be who you are in the country space. I want to talk about your tours and just what it's like to stand on a stage where it's like the honky tonk tour and then you're like singing this song about how Jesus changed your life.
Yeah.
Like what's the reaction when you sing that song?
You know, I was shocked by the reaction on The Building, on Blake's tour especially. So last year, he had us out on the Back to the Honky Tonk tour, and it is a rootin' tootin' country show. I mean, it's a full-blown honky tonk in an arena.
Yeah.
And I'm all about it. I'm like, let's go. But I knew that I wanted to sing The Building, and I just thought, I don't know if this crowd is going to respond to it.
Yeah.
But I was so worried about it and on the fence about it because I wanted to make a good impression. It was my first ever, opening slot on an arena tour.
Wow.
And it was something I had prayed for years. And so God opened up the door and I just wanted to do a good job, you know, and I will never forget singing The Building. I do it right in the middle of my set and I do, we did like He Set Her Off and then we maybe did like 9 to 5 and then I don't know. I can't remember my whole set. But anyways, we did a couple of fun songs and then I did The Building and I talked about how, you know, we all have different stories and we're all on different walks of life, but this song takes me back to the most special place in my life and the place that made me the woman I am today. And, you know, I hope this song takes you back to a special place in your life too. And when you play in like at the Opry or like a listening environment, people might cheer after like the hook, you know, but that is not normal in like an arena setting.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I sang The Building, and when I got to the hook and said, you know, it's the building where Jesus changed my life, I was floored. People were cheering and responding to that statement. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know.
The honky tonk tour is cheering for Jesus.
We're going to church. And so I was so surprised by that and so just like I felt just a total peace of like, okay, like I knew I was supposed to sing this, but this is the really cool part. So the first night of that tour, we were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I will never forget. I was going up to, you know, section 230, whatever, to meet everybody.
Yeah.
And I told folks, you know, I'd love to shake your hand, hug your neck, and get a picture. And so I go stand up there. The first person that comes up to me that night is this young boy, and he looked at me and he said, you know, I don't really like country music. And I was like, oh, you don't? And he was like, no, I don't. He was like, I came here with my mama. And I was like, oh, well, good. You know, hope you had fun so far, you know? And he said, you know, I go to a Christian school. He said, but I never really hear anybody talk about their faith outside of that environment. And he said, I just want you to know that you inspired me tonight that maybe I can share my faith in different environments too, other than just like around my Christian friends.
Wow.
That was the first person I talked to on that tour.
So cool.
And I literally hugged his neck and maybe he'll say this, maybe he won't because he don't like country music. He probably don't remember my name. But that was huge for me because I thought, you know, that is an answered prayer. That is why I do what I do.
That's right.
I love to entertain, to put a smile on people's face and have folks have a good time. I love it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like my calling and my true purpose is to hopefully share the love of the Lord, you know, and let people know there is hope beyond this goofy world.
That's right.
You know, so that was so incredible to hear him say that. And I thought, okay, God, you've got me right where you want me for a reason.
Yep.
You know, and I don't need to doubt it.
That's so cool. I love it so much. This podcast is called In the Middle of It. And so I want to hear about what you're in the middle of right now. Like in this moment in your life, what are you in the middle of?
Oh man, I feel like I've been in the middle of it for a long time. I don't know if I've ever felt on one side or the other. Do you understand that?
Totally.
I mean, like, and that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Like you said, I have been in Nashville for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I'm getting started.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And then
I feel that too.
There are some days where I'm like, golly, I've been here 10 years. What's going on? You know, so I do feel in the middle of it with my career. There are some days where I feel like, man, we have come such a long way and we're really on to something. And then there are some times where I'm like, you know, I've never signed a record deal. And I've never had a song at country radio. And I've had a lot of opportunities, but I feel like I am kind of in the middle in my career.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not fresh off the bus. I've got some experience under my belt, but then I also feel like I still have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
And so my career is somewhere where I feel kind of in the middle of it for sure. And it is interesting on a personal note. All my friends are having babies.
Yeah.
And me and my sweet little husband are like, when do you think we'll be ready for kids? So for those of you who are just listening, I just crossed my eyes. But yeah, it's interesting how I feel like life just changes and keeps moving. And it's good to know that a lot of people feel like they're in the middle.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And maybe that keeps us on our toes. And maybe, you know, I don't know. It might be a good thing. It's part of just, I guess, living and learning.
Yeah. And I think that's what life is. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I feel like we feel this pressure to have it all figured out and to be shiny and highlight reel on social media. Like, I have it all together and look at all my accomplishments. But I think everyone feels like we're just figuring it out and we're in the middle of it and we're not exactly where we want to be yet, but we're not just getting started. Especially I feel that in my 20s. Like you said, I have friends who are on their third kid and I have friends that are totally single, not even dating.
Yeah.
Like we're all just in the middle of really different seasons. And I don't know. It's okay to feel a little lost, I think, in that.
Yeah.
I feel a little lost all the time. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I'd have it figured out by 28, but I certainly do not.
I know. Isn't that crazy? When we're young, we think you would look at somebody who was our age and think, oh man, there's an adult just crushing it, you know?
Yes.
And now we're here and it's like, oh my gosh.
I feel like I'm having a teen pregnancy. I'm like 28. I'm 28 and I'm like, I feel like a kid inside. Like I don't feel ready to be a mother. What? It's just crazy. But I appreciate you saying that you, especially your husband, encourages you to take the time to live in the moment and be in the middle of it and be like, this is what I've already done and this is what I want to do. But like in this moment, I just want to be grateful. I think that's really powerful because we miss it so much.
Oh, I miss it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful he made me do that because I would just boo-hoo about all kinds of stuff of I haven't done this and I don't know how to get here. And, you know, and then he finally one day, he was probably just sick of me boo-hooing. And he was like, we're going to have to get to the bottom of this and you're going to have to learn how to be grateful. And now I'm trying to live my life like that and celebrate every victory.
Totally.
Instead of just always focusing on what's next. Because what's next is going to be here before we know it.
That's right.
But all we have is this moment right here. So we have to try to live in it, you know?
It's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like you're also in the middle of playing 1 million shows. You posted a graphic that was like, see you this summer. And I'm like, that is the most amount of cities I've ever seen in my life. Does a tour schedule like that make you excited or do you feel overwhelmed? Like, how do you feel looking to what's next for you in the next couple months?
I love touring.
Okay, great.
It is my favorite part of what I get to do.
Yeah.
I feel like I am more relaxed on the road than anywhere else in my whole life.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And I know that that's not always normal, but that comes from having a great team around me. God has blessed me with some great people. I have a tour manager who is the bee's knees. He's been with me for the past 10 years and he knows me like the back of his hand. I know him like the back of my hand. We work very well together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love writing. I love recording. I love all the other stuff that comes with this career. But the reason that I do it is to perform and entertain. That is like my heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so that fills up my cup so much. So I'm so excited for those dates. I will say the only thing that does get crazy about touring is trying to find time for somewhat of normalcy when you are gone and traveling so much and living out of a suitcase.
Who waters your potatoes?
I have some good neighbors. I have some good neighbors. And then I just pray that the Lord will. So we pray for rain a lot in our house now with that big garden. But yeah, it makes for a very busy life, but a full life.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for it.
That's so sweet. Does Chris come on the road with you?
Yes.
He does.
Yes, he does.
I love that.
And that's a big answered prayer too. So Chris worked a bunch of 9-to-5 jobs. He didn't go to college, but when we got married, I was not making steady income whatsoever. And Chris was doing kind of odds and ends construction work. And he worked for a moving company. And anyways, my daddy was like, you can marry her, but you have to get a job. Somebody's got to have
every dad ever.
Yes, insurance and a steady paycheck.
Yeah.
So poor Chris drew the short end of the stick, and he got a 9-to-5 job. And he did that for about 3 years of our marriage. And it was good and a blessing to have the steady paycheck, but we never saw each other.
Yeah.
Because his off time, I was on the road. And if I had a random Wednesday off, he was at work.
Yep.
And that is hard.
That is really hard. Yeah.
So we prayed and prayed that God would open up the door for him to be able to work remote or have a flexible schedule. And this is so crazy, but Chris always dreamed of doing like furniture refinishing or flipping houses.
Yeah.
Well, we bought our first house and he thought, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'm just going to document what we do to our first home. And the whole premise behind it was, okay, we are just two young kids who are broke. And if we can do different fix-it stuff, then you can too. It was trying to be like relatable and just let other youngins our age know you can make a house a home too. So that was our heart behind it. And we just shared it and it took off.
Yeah.
And now that is my husband's full-time job.
It's so cool.
He is a full-time content creator.
He's a YouTuber.
He's a YouTuber.
Come on.
That makes me feel so like new age or something. Like what's your husband do?
Awesome.
He's a YouTuber.
He's a YouTuber.
But yes, so he does that and he comes on the road with me and
so awesome.
He's such a help. He sells merch.
He sells merch.
Yes,
That's
he sells merch.
Precious.
And I do have to say this because I think it's so funny. We were opening for Cody Johnson, about a month ago, and I made a mistake and said that I was coming out to Section 230, whatever. And I was supposed to say that I was coming out after the second opener, but I said I was coming out directly after my set. And I messed up. And so Chris was like, I'm going to go up there and just make sure nobody gets mad. So he goes up there and he never comes back. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Well, finally he comes back. And he was like, well, I just did my first ever meet and greet. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Gosh.
And all the folks were like, we love Sasser House. So when he went up there, he was taking pictures and signing stuff.
Amazing.
And like if you like knew my husband, like anybody who went to high school with us or knows him, he was so shy. He's come out of his shell so much. But I just thought, oh my gosh, what is happening? So
that's so
anyways,
good.
it's really fun to see him just kind of like blossom in that whole field. And he's so good at the content stuff and loves it. And
he is
really
so
cool.
good at it. I really enjoy following him.
Oh.
I found your music through his furniture flipping.
I know.
Because I was trying to refinish a dresser, or I wanted to, but I wasn't sure. And I saw his stuff. I think it was on Facebook Marketplace. I can't remember. Anyways, I saw dressers that he was flipping and he was so sweet. I like messaged him. I was like, hi, I'm interested in a dresser. And he was like, actually, I think that you might know my wife or my wife knows you or you know of each other. Her name's Emily Ann Roberts. So then I found your video, A Whole Lot of Little, on TikTok, like at the same time. And anyways, it was just so funny that it was like his furniture stuff that brought me to be a fan of your music. And anyways, it's just amazing how that all...
It is amazing. I know, we were destined to be friends.
I know. And then we ended up refinishing the dresser ourselves by watching his YouTube videos.
I love
so
that.
you inspired us.
Oh.
And to this day, it's like one of our favorite pieces in our house. Like it's this beautiful refinish. It looks professional. We didn't know what we were doing.
I'm sure it's
But
pro.
I don't know if I'll ever do it again, to be honest. I
Yeah.
feel like I'll just have to have Chris refinish anything
just
from now
holler at
on
him.
and just be like, you have the tools.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But he inspired us. So I think
I
that's
love that.
really sweet that you guys go on the road together. I love that you kind of do different things, but also work together really sweetly. Like you guys do content together and your Yeehaw Mima activities go so well with his stuff. Like I see God's hand for sure in your marriage and just bringing you guys together. Okay, so this podcast is called In the Middle of It. And usually about halfway through the podcast, we have a little game I like to call the middle moment. Okay. So I have this handy dandy wheel. Okay. It has 8 topics on it. And what you're going to do is, I know there's
some of these topics.
there's some wild ones on here. Okay. You're going to spin the wheel and then whatever it lands on, we're going to talk about for like 2 minutes as just a little fun, a fun game in the middle. So take the wheel, spin it, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
The wheel's from Amazon, everybody.
I love the wheel.
And it really spins. It really
does.
goes.
Da, 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 da.
Wow, she's going.
Okay. What did
Okay.
we get?
You get $1 million. No.
Thank God we didn't get Bigfoot.
Oh, I was curious about your thoughts. But anyway, okay, $1 million. This question is, if you were gifted $1 million today and you could not give it all to charity, okay? I know people want to say, I would give it all to charity. That's so sweet. I want to know what...
That's so sweet. That's a lie.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I love that. Let's not waste our time talking about that in this moment. What would you do if you had $1 million today gifted to you?
Golly, I don't know.
Really?
I really don't. Okay,
You're like,
I'm not
I would
good
buy
with
100
money.
chickens.
Yes.
I would buy...
I'm not good with money, and I feel rich in like potato plants. You know,
Yes.
I feel rich in like I have 100 tomato plants growing in the yard. Okay, what would I do with $1 million? I would probably sugar fart. Maybe I would go to Hawaii.
Okay.
Because I've never been. And I
Amazing.
think that would be really fun. And I'm sure that wouldn't even scratch the surface of $1 million, but I'd probably go to Hawaii.
That would be about 5,000 probably.
Oh
so
my gosh.
then you have
Okay.
whatever that math is.
So I would go to Hawaii. I would probably buy I would maybe buy a couple new pairs of cowboy boots.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta
That's
start
a couple
doing something.
thousand.
I gotta start getting some bigger things. Oh, I would buy a tour bus.
Yes.
I have a tour bus.
Yes, your
I
own
have
bus.
leased some, but I have a Mima Peepaw van that we drive in that is paid for, but whew,
Yeah.
it really adds years takes years off my life. So I would buy a tour bus. Tour bus is probably what, like $200,000, $300,000?
I mean, maybe more.
How
I
about
don't know.
I buy a
don't
Taj
know.
Mahal tour bus, $500,000?
That'd be great.
Done.
Just trick it out. Like have a canning section. I don't even know what that means, but you could just really make
could.
it a Yeehaw Mima mobile.
What else could I do? Hawaii, tour bus, cowboy boots.
That feels like it would take care of much of it.
What's something else big? What would you do?
I would hire a private chef and have them cook 3 meals a day for me, which you probably don't relate to that because you are like a true...
I love to cook.
Yeah, and I love that about you so much. Maybe you could be my private chef. I'll just hire you
I
to
can have a new
come.
hobby.
No, literally, like that's what I would spend it on because I do not enjoy cooking and I hate planning out meals. It just stresses me out. I'm like, what are we gonna have? Chicken again. So I would use the $1 million to just hire the salary of a private chef and have them just cook for me 3 meals a day.
See, I think that's kind of genius.
You know?
Maybe I'd spend the rest of it on like a personal assistant
Yeah.
to help me. Oh, no, I know. I want a driver
Yes.
so that I can get stuff done while people drive me places.
That makes so much sense to me for you. Everything I know about you, that makes so much sense. You're like, I
Yes.
need to get more things done in the car.
Yes.
Wow.
That's what I want.
Okay.
Okay, great. That's what I'm going to do. When I make $1 million one day, I'm going to get me a driver.
That's great. I'll know when I see that you have a driver, I'll know. Like,
Wow.
you know how people say, like, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell you, but there would be signs. If you won $1 million, I wouldn't know, but there would be signs.
Yes.
I love it. That's so amazing.
In the middle of it.